بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So we are doing the questions and answers in the annex of Manasik al-Hajj, and we started doing the issues or problems or troubleshooting the problems which encounters one of the obligations of Tawaf. So we completed the issues encountering the muwalat, not totally. The muwalat is going to encounter us from time to time. So so we reached question number 16, and one of the conditions of the tawaf is ikhtiyar, option. That means if two people they squeeze you and you feel that you are doing tawaf, but there's no irada. There's no irada, and people they come, what about the wheelchair? Wheelchair, you are not walking, there's no irada. Or what the stretcher, which they used to do once upon a time when we were kids, we used to see people carrying stretcher and elderly people. That anything like or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did tawaf on the camel. All these things, even though you are not walking, somebody is holding you, carrying you, whatever doing, but it's still in your irada. You tell him stop, stop. You tell him go, go. You tell him my wudu is invalid, invalid. But this guy is forced to walk, like he got squeezed between two gigantic, heavy duty crowds. Like sometimes you'll see people that are mashallah, they're from heavy duty champions or something like. They come and they squeeze you, and you're up and you're floating your feet, and but it's not any control, you see. It's like you're walking on the air. For sometimes you say, oh, I've got the hyperbolic irfani power, so I'm not even touching the ground, but then the guys are squeezing the hell out of you and pushing you and doing the tawaf with you. But so and you can't tell them stop, go. No, they're not going to listen to you. So that is different than wheelchair, camel, a stretcher, because that is you hire them, you are controlling them, you pay them, or they are volunteers under your direction. So that is different than just getting carried on with the crowd. And so the ikhtiyar, the option to control is not in your hand. So the question is, إذا تيقن, if somebody was certain that during his fifth round, okay, he وهو في الشوط الخامس, he was in fifth round, he he got certainty. That means he realized, so for sure, certainly, I did the first round unoptionally, like I did not have any option. So my first round was done without my option. Let's keep it like simple. So what is the question? If a person realizes, gains certainty in the fifth round that in the first round he did his tawaf without any option, maslub al-ikhtiyar. So what should he do? So he says, if he was not totally out of his option, okay, that means only first round, and he's in the fifth round, so he will neglect the first round, or cancel the first round, as first round was not done. So from the second round, he will consider it what? First round, and then he will complete 7 rounds. So that means total is 8 round. No, the first round was not a round, not considered, as long as he had option. Like only first round was without option, but the second, third, fourth, he had until fifth. He had this option. It was under his option. So it says if he was not totally out of option, okay, that means first round only was without option. But the rest of the tawaf was not, the rest of the rounds were done by his option. So if it was not totally out of option, like the first round, a few steps maybe he got carried on. So if we are talking about the first round, so if he was not totally deprived from option, or the option was not totally taken away from first round, there were like areas he got like carried on, especially beside HAJJ al-Aswad or some places, then there is no problem. Little bit carried on, that's fine. Otherwise, if he was totally on the first round without any option, these guys, they did the whole round carrying him, and he kept saying, "Drop me, drop me, drop me." There was no use, Baba. They're going on. They're carrying on. So then he will have to cancel the first round and add one round when he completes his tawaf. So once he does seventh, it will not be seventh, it will be his sixth. So he will do one round because that first round was totally done without option. But if it was some places, somewhere, he says it's okay. So to sum up, I think if he was in the first round not totally uh, without any option, then the tawaf will be correct. But if he was totally without any option the whole first round, then he will have to cancel that first round and add, because he's still in the fifth round. The hypothesis is he's in the fifth round. So he will have to cancel the first round and complete full 7 round with option. That means sixth, seventh, and eighth. But the eighth one is seventh because the first one is cancelled. Okay. So if there was a crowd and pushing in here and there, and it happens in a way that the one who is doing the tawaf, he wanted to stand, he would not be able to stand due to the pushing of the people doing tawaf, pushing and pushing, and especially the crowded area. So for example, the crowded areas are like this. Once you arrive HAJJ al-Aswad, here the crowd gets like pushy until here, until here. Here it starts becoming softer. Once you come to the Hajar Ismail, past the middle of the Hajar Ismail, you see, where did they go? Like it becomes so flexible. Okay, you see empty spots around you. But when you are coming close to Hajar al-Aswad, you can't see the ground in most of the cases until you finish, and then you are going here. So let's say half of the tawaf almost is crowded from from the area, and other half is like flexible, open. So let's say because of the pushing, the guy wants to stop, but he can't stop because there is pushing going on. Uh, so that stopping, he stopped, but they kept pushing, pushing. His option is to stop. He's unintentionally pushed forward. So he says, is this pushing involuntarily uh, going to be considered part of the tawaf or not part of the tawaf? Okay. So تدافع طائفين خلفه فهل ينافي ذلك الاختيار. So when this push went, will this be considered out of my option in this area of tawaf? You see, uh, if that was the case, then what is the responsibility? Especially if he was not able to pinpoint exactly where did he stop and he reached a little bit in front. He says that if you can make a U-turn, okay, like إذا كان متمكنا من الخروج من المطاف وإذا لم يكن متمكنا من التوقف. So what happens, he says, if a person, he's stopping, okay, is if he's able to get out of that circle area which he's doing, then he should get out, not stop there. But if he was not, وإن لم يكن متمكنا من التوقف كفى ذلك في تحقق الاختيار المعتبر في حركة الطائف. He says it's okay, but still by optional you stood and you're aware that you're moving in front. So this is sufficient for that it was in his option. So if إذا كان متمكنا من الخروج من المطاف, if he was able to leave the area of the tawaf where he's being pushed, وإن لم يكن متمكنا من التوقف, if he was not able to stop, كفى في تحقق كفى ذلك, it would be sufficient في تحقق الاختيار المعتبر في حركة الطائف. So if little bit movement happen, it will not affect that this movement was without any option. It's okay. ومع سلب الاختيار عنه كلية. However, if the option was totally taken away from him, then he needs to make a U-turn. يلزمه التراجع إلى نفس المكان. Like for example, we said that he goes like this, he takes a U-turn and comes back here. Here he was, and he stopped, and he got pushed up quite without totally any option. He was carried on. I mean, he got carried on with the crowd. The crowd carried him. So what he does is he will take a U-turn, he'll go out, come down, and come to this spot and continue his tawaf. Okay? Because totally he was the ikhtiyar. So the bottom line is he has a bit option. When he's moving, his foot are like being pushed, is like his foot are like getting in front, like he's trying to resist and still trying to get himself flow with the push, but still there is a kind of. But if it was totally he's doing foot maneuvers but there's nothing happening, then he will have to make a U-turn. وإن لم يمكنه, if he's not able to make a U-turn, جاز له أن يستأنف هذا الشوط ولا مانع من عدم تحديد المكان من التراجع بالمقدار المحتمل وقصد الطواف من المكان الواقعي. So he can just go all the way around and consider this not a part of his tawaf and come back and repeat this round. So let's say number one, step by step. Number one, he's being pushed, but still he has an option. He's resisting and yet he's a little bit going in front with the flow, like between resistance and between movement. So there is the total, the option has not been taken away totally from him. That's number one. So it's okay if he continues his tawaf because he was like in his footsteps or trying to resist the push. That's number one. Number two, no, totally the option was taken away from him. So for him, he needs to go back. Can he go back? No, people are stampeding in front. Okay, then what he'll do, he'll make a U-turn and complete a bit backward from wherever he had stopped and was pushed. Can he do the U-turn? Yes. If he can't do the U-turn, okay, carry on a dummy round. And once you come before the Hajj al-Aswad, make an intention that this is the actual round. Like, for example, third round was it, or second round. So this is the actual third round. That was not third round. That was deleted. Okay. So you delete that round which got messed up. Uh, so that's it says. So you can repeat جاز أن يستأنف هذا الشوط ولا مانع من عدم تحديد المكان من التراجع بالمقدار. And he says you don't have to, if you're able to go back to a place where you're certain that your tawaf was okay. Let's say here you doubt, I don't know, did I stop here or here or here? Go back in a way that you are sure that here, at least here, my tawaf that was by voluntarily done by me. Come to that area. So coming back as much as you can to start from wherever you are certain that this was certainly from proper tawaf. So these are the options, that either you complete a dummy round and delete that round, or if you can't get U-turn and this and that. And there's no problem if you want to go back all the way. U-turn is not possible here. You can come here and then continue. So لا مانع, he says, there is no problem. مع عدم تحديد المكان, you don't know where exactly this happened, to go back to the point where you're certain that this is not this is this in this spot the tawaf was okay. So question number 18. So now we know that total, the option taken away totally, the ikhtiyar, the option, or no, like there's part you and part the crowd. So question number 18. If a person performing tawaf knew ahead of time that in certain place in the tawaf area he is going to be optionless due to the heavy crowd there, so what should he do? Now this guy is skinny, bony shony. You see, he does like maybe two people can carry him easily. The crowd comes and he's weak, for example. So what should he do? Should he do the intention of tawaf more in general than the tawaf of somebody's walking or tawaf of somebody's riding? That whenever he's carried, he makes intention like he's riding a camel. So can he do like that part tawaf, walking by himself, voluntarily part tawaf, like being walked, taken by people and walked? Can once he's squeezed and he's in that crowd and he feels his foot are like walking in the on the air? So can he make the intention of rakib? Uh, he says that this intention, it's not under your control. The camel is under your control, the wheelchair is under your control, the stretch is under your control, two people carrying you because you told them please help me with the tawaf. But if they come and carry you and totally take away the irada, the option from you, there's no meaning for that. Okay, so what is the answer, Sayyidina? إذا كانت شدة الزحام, if the heavy crowd does not take away the total option from you, that means you're being pushed and you're there, but still you can put some brake, you can slow the crowd down, or that means you have still your irada, your option is there, your will is there. So then there's no problem. Otherwise, if totally you can't do anything, they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're trying to put some brake, there's nothing you can't do. فَعَلَيْهِ الْإِتْيَانِ بِالطَّوَافِ. So that means you should not perform your tawaf in that time. And you should wait for that time or that place where you can do your entire tawaf with will and option. Okay, optionally and willingly. will willingly. So this is what you do. Choose a time or choose a place away. You don't have to cram yourself beside Hajj al-Aswad like many people they do, just to make a tawaf shorter. So go far, a bit far away, or choose a time where it's not too crowded. However, the intention you mentioned, that can I make an intention of a riding person once I get carried on? He says that it is meaningless. There is no meaning for it and there is no effect for it. I mean, making that intention is not going to correct your tawaf. Question number 19. So, if the tawaf after Maqam Ibrahim, if you recall, let me see if I have the image, because these images, they help. Okay, there you go. Yes. So if, let me share the screen. Now, as you know, that, yeah, this is a good one. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, this is Maqam Ibrahim, okay? And this is Hajar al-Aswad. So what happens that some maraja, they said you can't do tawaf out of Maqam Ibrahim. The border of tawaf is this, between Maqam Ibrahim and between the Kaaba, all the way around. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, eighth row. So let's see here, eighth row. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is eighth row here. So let's make a circle all the way with the eighth row. Something like that. I got it. Okay. And then when you come to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm trying to pull this pen on the eighth row. I hope it goes around. Now you see what happens? The Hajr Ismail has taken about 5 rows plus. So this eighth row is barely 1 row here, Hajr Ismail. So tawaf becomes tight if you stick to the border between Maqam Ibrahim and the Kaaba. Okay. So this was the many of our maraja, many of our scholars, some they said it is wajib to do tawaf in between this range. That means when you come to Hajr Ismail, you just have to make sure that you don't touch Hajr Ismail and you are just like 1 meter away from Hajr Ismail, to make sure that you are in between that range of Maqam Ibrahim and the wall of the Kaaba. Some maraja, they said obligatory precaution. Some maraja say obligatory recommended precaution. So all the maraja, they had different fatwa in this regard. However, Sayyid al-Queen, Sayyid Sistani Damadillo says it is recommended precaution to do in between this. However, if it's crowded, then you can do the tawaf outside of the circle of Maqam Ibrahim. So, which is like if I go and change the pen to, let's say, a green color, okay, and try to erase this line. So now out of the Maqam Ibrahim is the green color, okay. So it reaches here. This is the circle out of Maqam Ibrahim, okay. So So they say in this karaha or this what to problem in doing tawaf out of Maqam Ibrahim is resolved if it's too crowded. And waqi'an, this area is like a battle zone. To pass this area, you have to be very careful to secure tawaf. Until here, I'm talking about my personal experience. Until here, because everybody wants to cram themselves between Maqam Ibrahim and the Kaaba. So once you arrive here, let me just also change the color to show you the battle zone. So this is your battle zone. Okay. Don't fight anybody. Okay. It's just I'm saying it because you have to be careful with your tawaf, battling with your tawaf, not with people. And this is also battle zone, battle zone, battle zone. This all area, you'll be squeezed, you'll be pushed. People are coming out, people are going in. You have to give them way so that they don't mess up your tawaf. Okay. Don't be stubborn. No, you should wait. Let me cross. No, just let them. And there are sometimes 5, 6 people attached to each other, and they want to go out. Just give a pause. Stop. Let them go out. There are people they want to come into Hajj al Aswad, this area. So this area, besides there's the crowd battle zone of Hajj al Aswad, there are people coming in, people going out, people coming in. This is area you will find a lot of this happening. So that's why if you are such a person, then don't do your tawaf in this area. Nope. Do it out of Maqam Ibrahim. Okay. Especially for the ladies. We recommend that the ladies they do their tawaf this outside here in this area, especially the ladies go there squeeze like the hell of a squeeze. Okay. So it's just like not appropriate that so this is like, see, this is the Maqam Ibrahim. Okay, if you stretch a line of Maqam Ibrahim, obviously this drawing is not that good, so this distance here becomes lesser than this distance, and people coming here, it's the battle zone here. Until you come a little bit here, it gets softer, softer. Once you are here, you feel, oh, miracle happened. Where did the people go? They start dispersing, dispersing, dispersing. So it becomes loose all the way here. It's loose. But once you come close to Adil Aswad. So this is something which gives you an idea about how the crowd, yeah. So this is this is the area of that battle zone I was talking about between the Kaaba and Maqam Ibrahim. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep this in case if I need to show you also further. Um, um, let's go back to our ruling. Okay. So, yeah. So, if it is permissible to do the tawaf out behind Maqam Ibrahim, now you understand in front of Maqam Ibrahim, behind Maqam Ibrahim. Front of Maqam Ibrahim means between the Kaaba and Maqam Ibrahim. Behind Maqam Ibrahim is out of that range. So if it was permissible, why says if permissible? Because some Maraja they say okay, some Maraja they say okay, some Maraja they say if it was very crowded, yes, it's okay. So yeah. So if it was permissible to perform the tawaf behind Maqam Ibrahim, is there any limit for a person who's performing the tawaf that he should not go further? Because Maqam Ibrahim is a limit. But what about, is there any limit for those people who are doing tawaf out of Maqam Ibrahim in a way that that tawaf is no more tawaf, um, or it is with the intention of cutting the tawaf? Okay, so he says, Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah has this concept that whenever the time uh, the things get expanded, that expansions are included in most of the masail. Like for example, Makkah, Sayyid al-Khuy was peculiar that your qasr and tamam option is only limited in Makkah al-Qadima. You enter the state of ihram from Makkah al-Qadima. Sayyid Sistan says no. Even the expansion areas, whatever is called Makkah. Makkah at that time was called that small area, and which nowadays they call it Makkah al-Qadima. But now, whenever the expansion happens and it's called Makkah, it's Makkah. You can enter the state of Ihram from there. You can do your Qasr and Tamam from there. So all the expansions are considered Makkah. The same thing Kaaba. Before, the Tawaf area was small. Getting out of that area would be considered out of Tawaf. The platform, they increase. So now the whole Masjid al-Haram surrounding are considered. Not just that, even under the roof of Masjid al-Haram is considered the Tawaf area. Safa Marwa is not. So let me show you again the image. So this image gives you further clarifications. What is the area of Tawaf? Because that's the question. So now, if we go back to our, in this image, you can see the building behind this building. So this is ground floor. Okay. Okay. Or this is, let's say, Mizanian. And then there is this first floor. And then there is this second floor all the way in the top. So as we mentioned, if you are able to see the Kaaba, okay, you can do the tawaf, but it needs to be parallel to the second floor. Some say it is, some say it is not. But the Mizanian is indeed in. You can see the Kaaba. The Mizanian is definitely okay. So it is inside, like these, all these areas inside. This is considered mataf, unless if this inside was Safa and Marwa. No. So if it is not Safa and Marwa, then people, they can do tawaf inside. So wheelchairers, they allow them to do tawaf in Mizanian. Okay. So it is part of the mataf. So mataf is not just this area. You see, mataf is not just this area. It got expansion, expansion, expansion. People are doing tawaf here. Now people are doing tawaf inside. This is inside. Okay. All this area is inside. So they are doing tawaf inside now. Okay, as long as they can see the Kaaba. And this is Safa and Marwa. So here you cannot do the tawaf. This area you cannot do tawaf. You cannot do tawaf here. Okay. But this area, and see here, even Safa Marwa, you have still this area. People, they do tawaf. This green line is the edge from the Safa Marwa side. But you will see people doing tawaf. As long as it is people are doing tawaf and it's considered mataf, except for this area, Safa Marwa, it is considered mataf. So if you exit the mataf, even for 1 minute, you lose the consistency. Or you stay in between the tawa rounds, as yesterday we said, unnecessarily, even for 5 minutes, he has a problem. So therefore, let's go back to the question. Yes. So he says al-mataf. So the question is, what is the mataf actually? What is the tawaf platform where the tawaf is considered tawaf? And when he leaves that place, it is considered no more tawaf. Remember, even for 1 minute, if you go out of tawaf platform during the tawaf, you lose the consistency and continuity. So, so he says, mataf is a place which is considered in common consideration, like common considers people are doing tawaf around that area. It is tawaf. عليه بالكعبة المعظمة. However, he says that there is no effect if somebody cuts his tawaf and exits the tawaf area. Like the closest exit is Safa and Marwa. Okay. He says it is not, there is no effect when a person exits from that to outside in the cutting of it does not affect the discontinuation of the tawaf. كما لا أثر لنية القطع, because the questioner asks, is when I intend to cut the tawaf, does it cut? It is to discontinue, does it become discontinue? He says there is no effect for getting exiting, neither it is neither it is it affects neither the intention of discontinuing tawaf affects. So what? Say the Sistani adds something. Other Maraja, they say, if you exit the tawaf, even for mataf area for 1 minute, come to the Safa Marwa, it invalidates your tawaf. Or you make the intention. He says it does not. So what discontinues it, Sayyidina? بل لو خرج من المطاف. Rather, if he leaves the tawaf area, platform of tawaf, واشتغل بعمل آخر, and he preoccupies himself with some other thing which indicates that he has discontinued his tawaf before continuing it. Before completing the tawaf, he leaves the tawaf area and he becomes preoccupied in something which is which indicates that he has continued his tawaf. Here the tawaf will be invalid. So it's not just getting out of the tawaf area, it is just like preoccupying. So what the question is, basically he is performing the tawaf. While performing the tawaf, he exits the area, okay, of the tawaf. So you said that exiting the tawaf area invalidates the tawaf. So while he's doing the tawaf, he exits. He exits the tawaf. He went into Safa Marwa area, okay, and he continued. So does this does this consider that he discontinued his tawaf? He lost his consistency, a continuity, muwala, or he's intended during the tawaf. He intended, I'm going to cut my tawaf. So does the tawaf become discontinued? He says this type of intention does not have any effect. This type of like going out of the tawaf area, like getting into the Safa Marwa area, is does not make him discontinuing the tawaf. Okay. Um, yes. لا أثر للخروج منه إلى الخارج في قطع الطواف. So you exited that area. It does not discontinue because you're doing tawaf. While doing tawaf, you came into Safa Marwa area and then you continued. So did you discontinue your tawaf? You lost muwalat, you lost the consistency. كما لا أثر النية القطع وحدها. The intention by itself does not also discontinue tawaf. Rather, if he exits the tawaf area and stops the tawaf, see, stops it, like واشتغل بعمل آخر, started chatting on the cell phone or doing something else other, in a way, something when the common consideration or the common observer looks at this person, they say he's not going tawaf, he's chatting on the telephone. Okay, he's chatting, or he's talking, or he's doing something, he's fixing his ihram or whatever. So he said here he has not completed his tawaf. During his tawaf, he left the tawaf platform, or he made an intention and he became preoccupied. So, preoccupancy is the condition for Sayyid Sistani to something which the common does not consider it tawaf. Common consider or urf, common consideration. كما يبطل الطواف. So, this is one scenario. كما يبطل الطواف، يبطل بالتوقف عن الطواف إلى حين فوات الموالاة العرفية مطلقا. And he kept a criteria of muwala, that it should the gap. So that's number one, exiting the mataf, preoccupying himself, okay, exiting the mataf, making the intention of discontinuation, or in addition to that, preoccupying in himself, something which is not considered tawaf in the common consideration. And another thing which invalidates the tawaf is giving a pause between the rounds in a way that violates the commonly considered consistency, which according to him is a few minutes. Okay, more than that, it is problematic for Sayyid Sistani. Remember, 10 minutes gap is between tawaf and salat al-tawaf, or for the necessities like wudu and those kind of things. But just stopping for nothing, okay. Even for resting, he had a problem in previous ruling. So question number 20. So is it required in the permissibility of the tawaf behind Maqam Ibrahim that the people performing tawaf are glued with the Kaaba? That means, remember that gap between Maqam Ibrahim and the Kaaba, like they're all attached from Maqam Ibrahim, from Maqam till wall. There's no, like, so crowded. So is that something which qualifies a person to go around from behind Maqam Ibrahim? He says لا يشترط ذلك. Okay. وإن كان منفردا. Even if there was not that much crowd and he was alone, you see, he can go behind the مقام إبراهيم فيجوز وإن كان منفردا. Even if he was alone, the crowd doesn't have anything to do that. It's permissible. It's permissible to do tawaf after the behind Maqam Ibrahim. Like, take Maqam Ibrahim in your tawaf. And the Kaaba, remember the second floor, which is arguable. Some people, they say no, a forefinger or Kaaba is up, because you have to be on the ground and see whether you can see the Kaaba or not from the floor, you see, of second floor. So if you sleep, okay, and try to observe, some people, they say we see like portion of Kaaba. If you see, your tawaf from second floor is okay. Some people, they say no, it's a bit tricky and this and that. So if you don't see, then don't do the tawaf. So it's up to you. However, it's better just to do the tawaf down, okay. And for the wheelchairers, they're okay from the mizanian. You can see half of the Kaaba. It's the level of the half or below half of the Kaaba. That's a mizanian, because there's the Safa Marwa area, and then the tawaf of the ground, and then there is this tawaf of the mizanian. It's a bit higher, where it's like considered first floor mizanian, and second floor is high, and that height, um, it's arguable. So it's better as a precautionary measure not to. Yes, recommended tawaf. If you feel that it is a bit higher, do recommended tawaf there. If you don't feel that it is higher, then don't do recommended tawaf there. Do it in the mizanian. So it is says, is it permissible to do the tawaf from the top floor? He says it is permissible as long as that floor is not above the height of the Holy Kaaba. Okay. Question number 22. So what if the Kaaba was surrounded by fence, which are high fence? Because sometimes when they do construction of the Kaaba, so they lift up some fences. So the construction workers, they do their work inside. So you do the tawaf around. So they say they put this high fences, okay, which prevents if the Kaaba was surrounded with high fences, which is above the level, the height of the Kaaba, in a way that it prevents the Kaaba to be seen. Okay, will this be considered? Uh, so will this fence, having this fence, will the tawaf will be valid or not? He said yes. فهل يصدق على الطائف بهذا الصندوق أنه يطوف بالبيت? Will he be considered doing tawaf around the Kaaba with this box around the Kaaba or with this fence around the Kaaba? He says yes, it will be considered tawaf. Because you are not about the height of the Kaaba. And looking at the Kaaba is not condition, it's mustahab. Okay, again, question about second floor. If the second floor was about the height of the Kaaba, then the obligation is, if someone is doing tawaf, he cannot do tawaf from ground floor. He cannot do tawaf from the uh, the first floor mizanian. He can only do tawaf from all the way top second floor because of the heavy crowd and because of the wheelchair and because of a lot of issues. So it's mentioned that he should delegate someone to do the tawaf on his behalf down. Okay. So, oh, the question was like that. Al-Ajiz, a person who cannot do tawaf by himself. And if he was going to do tawaf on the stretcher or on the wheelchair, then it is only allowed from the second floor. Like it is allowed from the Mizanian. But let's say in some time and heavy times of Hajj and maybe the even second floor Mizanian they don't allow. So he has to go all the way on the second floor, okay, which is the debated, arguable one. So Al-Ajiz an al-Tawaf, he says, so what is his responsibility? He cannot do tawaf from down. He cannot do tawaf from Mizanian. The only option he has, due to his sickness or circumstances or the crowd and this and that and wheelchair. So he says, if the second floor is about the height of the Kaaba, then it would be obligatory upon him to delegate someone to do the tawaf on his behalf where the tawaf is permissible. Even though recommended precaution is that you do the tawaf from second floor, add your tawaf. So that tawaf of Naib delegate is obligatory. That is the main tawaf. And recommended precaution, while he's doing tawaf, you also do the tawaf here. And so this is if the height was above. What if doubt, as I mentioned, some say this, some say that. And on the doubt, being above the height of the Kaaba or below the height of the Kaaba, then obligatory precaution to do the delegation and represent someone to delegate on your behalf and do the tawaf, and you do the tawaf by yourself as well. So if the height of Kaaba is above a little bit from the second floor, uh, then let the delegate do it. Okay, and you do it as a recommended precaution because the Kaaba is above the height of the second floor. And as it goes for the doubt, then obligatory precaution, do both. You do your tawaf and let the delegate also do there. So this question is interesting. Like someone who is not in trouble, okay, uh, is not in trouble, is not in sickness, is not in disease. So can he do the tawaf on the wheelchair? Or the scooter? Scooter, yeah, nowadays they have scooters all the on the top floor. And stretcher is once upon a time. So can somebody do the tawaf optionally, okay, riding on a wheelchair or on a scooter or on a stretcher or anything, or it is not allowed? So he said the necessary is that the option, that it is considered that he is in control of his tawaf, okay, that he is doing his tawaf by himself and not someone else is forcefully making him do, like that guy was carried on forcefully doing tawaf. No, he can tell this, he can break the scooter, press the gas of the scooter, battery of the scooter, like the camel of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, as long as he has his option, then there's no problem in riding the wheelchair or the scooter, if he was the one having the control of it, of its movement, or he was able to stop whenever he wants to stop. لا أن يطلب من ذلك الغير, not he would ask someone else to do. وأما الطواف على السرير الذي يحمله شخص آخر فلا يجزي إلا مع الضرورة. So basically, scooter, he has his option. Wheelchair, if he's doing the wheelchair, because now there are battery operated wheelchair there. I saw like some women, mashallah, their abba and everything, they were like speeding there, like two, three women, they're like speeding. Like one woman, she was wearing this like bat cloak or like Batman. So one of my colleagues says, "Oh, Sheikh, Batman is passing by." What? And there's this lady was like speeding up on her scooter. So yeah, so it's 20th century. Anyhow, so the thing is that as long as these scooters and these wheelchairs are in your control, what if it is in not in your control? Then only in the case of necessity, like the stretcher is not in your control, though you commanded them. So that is a necessity. Wheelchair, if the guy on the wheelchair, okay, if the wheelchairer stops whenever you want him to stop or goes, so that can be something which is permissible without any necessity. However, okay, because the criteria is that he is able to stop it whenever he wants, not someone, not asking someone to stop for him. So that's the criteria of say this is that. That means wheelchair also, if someone is pushing the wheelchair, then it is the case of necessity only. Optionally, he cannot use wheelchair. This for the tawaf. Sa'i is okay. Um, so what about the camel? Camel was like scooter. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was controlling the camel. Stop, stop, go, go. Uh, he was not telling a guy to stop the camel for me or someone else. No, it was totally under his control. What if a wheelchairer was? No, still wheelchairer is a human and not an animal. And this can open a discussion, a good discussion, because yeah, people sometimes get mixed up in these things. وأما الطواف على السرير, okay, yeah. So the criteria is, as long as he is the one moving it, He is the one stopping it whenever he wants, not asking someone else to stop. As for the tawaf on the stretcher, or in the case of wheelchair, which is like a which may be out of the control of the person, then it is not sufficient unless if it was a case of necessity. Okay. إذا أتى ببعض خطوات Okay, this question has about three segments. So let's start with the general theme of this question. He walked a few steps. If someone walked a few steps without having the required condition during the tawaf, which are religiously required condition during the tawaf, due to what? Due to the crowd or any other excuse, such as faced the qibla or gave the back to the qibla, or the sliding base of the Kaaba, which is part of the Kaaba, you should not get on it. Shah he got on Shah, or he lost his option, or all the conditions and obligations which are there for tawaf, he just messed up with a few of these conditions. So what will be his responsibility? So the questioner divides this question into three segments. Segment number one: what will be his responsibility if he realizes the moment he missed the condition? That's number one scenario. He says, no problem, go back, U-turn, as we said, go back. If you can go back like this, go back, but the crowd is pushing you, take a U-turn. So he goes back wherever this problem happened and continues the tawaf from that area. And uh, yeah, however, he should not make an intention of tawaf once he goes back for U-turn, or he continues the dummy tawaf. Remember, if he is not able to go back, then he will complete the round as a dummy round. Yeah, he cannot continue with the intention of tawaf until he reaches where the problem happened. From there, he makes his intention. So let's say the problem happened here, where there's too much crowded area here. So now he can't go back. If he goes back, this Hajar Aswad area, the war zone. So what will happen? That he's trying to go. So either he will go like far away and take a U-turn and come back. That's fine. Or if he cannot do that, that he will complete the dummy round without the intention of tawaf. That this is tawaf, because this is just a dummy round. Okay. And then when he reaches this area, let's say he did a U-turn and he came this. From here, he makes the intention that this is my continuation of the round which I missed, or I had problems in it. Or if he completes the dummy round, he doesn't make the intention of tawaf until he reaches this area, then he carries on with this round. Yeah, without intention, whatever movements he does without intention of tawaf. So he says that if he is not able to go back, U-turn not possible due to the heavy crowd, for example, then he can continue, go to Hajj al-Aswad without the intention of tawaf and redo the round from the beginning, from the Hajj al-Aswad area. And then in this case, if he completes, if he completes the round, for Sayyidi Sistani, he should not complete and come to this point and make intention that this is the continuation. This is allowed for the U-turn. But if you are going to complete a round, then start this round from Hajar al-Aswad on the basis of obligatory precaution. Okay, so this was one scenario. ثم يستأنف هذا الشوط. So he comes, he cannot go U-turn. If he cannot go U-turn, complete the round and start without intention of tawaf, and start a new round, the substitute round for that cancelled round from Hajar al-Aswad. ولا يكتفي بالبدء من موضع القطع على الأحوال. It will not be sufficient, because this place he got cut off. So he can't come all the way here and continue. No, he should start from Hajar al-Aswad. It's a new round. That round he will cancel it totally, delete it. Okay, that was first scenario of this question. What is the second scenario of this question? The second scenario of this question, he realized that a problem happened, but he completed until the whole round. Okay, he was not supposed to. He was supposed to go U-turn, but no, he completed. So if he realized that the violation of condition has happened, however, he continued the round until he completed that round. So the answer is, if he had completed out of, yeah, out of unintentional ignorance, he should repeat that round, and there's nothing on him. So that round which went wrong, is going to repeat it from the Hajj al-Aswad. But if his ignorance was intentional, then he says, I have a problem in the tawaf. So that means complete and redo one as a precautionary measure. Ishkal, that means obligatory precaution. So if it was unintentional ignorance and he had completed it, then there is no problem. Okay. Um, However, if it was, and he doesn't have anything. However, if it was um, intentional ignorance, like he did not learn and he had doubt and encounter and this and that, which we explained previously, then there will be his validity of his tawaf will be problematic. That means obligatory precaution. He needs to take the precautionary measures, complete this, pray the salat of ihtiyat, and bring a new round, because you should have learned. Okay, the third scenario, he realizes when? He realizes when he is in the round after it. So the first scenario was, the first scenario was during the round he realized and he stopped. Second one, during the round he realized, okay, the khalal happened. However, he completed the round. And the third scenario is, uh, he uh, he realized after complete. So realization is not during the tawaf. Realization is after completing the tawaf and entering into the next round. So he says that he needs to redo the round which he messed up. يعيد الشوط الذي وقع فيه وقع الإخلال فيه. So he must repeat the round in which the violation of the condition happened, and there will be no problem. So just that round in which the violation happened. So in all the cases, we see that the the uh, the tawaf, um, yeah, He needs to fix that violation. Question number 26. If he realizes that he had lost his option, or he believes that he had lost his option in some of the steps of the round, and he had completed, and he added one more round after the seventh round. So, what will be the ruling of his round? Baba, God said seven round. It has to be seven round. You do extra round. What is your intention? Why do you either you know for sure that round is gone, so you have to do one round because that round was cancelled or deleted, or you must have some reason to do the extra round, not just like on the cases of doubt, because the doubts, they are dealt with their way, with their rules of doubt. He says it is problematic to consider that tawaf valid. You see, so he knows that he had lost his option in certain areas of the tawaf. Okay, no, إذا اعتقد, he thought. So here we don't have yaqeen, we don't have realization. إذا اعتقد, he thought that in some of the steps he took during his round were not voluntarily, like that guy was carried on. But he completed that round. He should have gone reverse and U-turn and complete and fix that thing. But what he did, he completed. He said, "Let me just add one more round." So he added one more round. So the total rounds are 8 rounds. After the seventh round, he added one. Just to, if that round was not right, at least I brought one round. So he said, doing like this is problematic. Okay. Basis of obligatory precaution, you need to use the precautionary measures by repeating the tawaf. Unless if the ignorance about this, because he did something out of ignorance, unless if the ignorance which he had or unawareness was unintentional. Okay, so that is the answer to this question, that it's problematic for you to bring one round as a precautionary, and you're not required in such case. So unless if your unawareness was unintentional, you tried your best to find out but you could not. And we take a few questions and we'll call it a day. Someone during the tawaf faced the Kaaba. Okay, like he should be walking like this. Kaaba is here, so he faced the Kaaba, or came on Shadharwan, the sliding base of the Kaaba, or stretched his hand to touch the Kaaba, or he lost his option during the tawaf. So all these are violations of the conditions of the obligation of tawaf, conditions and obligations of tawaf. And he continued in his tawaf. And he did not realize the ruling, his ruling in this case, until he completed his umrah. So what will be the ruling for him? So this guy completed the umrah. He says, as for touching the wall of the Kaaba does not affect the validity of the tawaf. Okay? Is the facing the Kaaba that is. So that is because he mentioned what? He touched, so he faced the Kaaba, okay, he gave his front to the Kaaba, or came during the tawaf, came on the slided base of the Kaaba Shadharwan, or touch the Kaaba. He says, they touch the Kaaba, take it out. Or his option to move was option was he did not have option to do the tawaf by himself. So here he says, as for stretching the hand to the Kaaba does not affect the validity of tawaf. As for other things mentioned, then he needs to redo the salat tawaf and the salat of tawaf and the sa'i and the taqsir, and he needs to avoid the muharramat al-ihram. Okay, he needs to abstain from whatever is prohibited during the ihram before repeating it. That means he's in the ihram. He did not exit the ihram. So his umrah was, so he came from miqat in ihram, he did his umrah. He thought that he exited the umrah. He said, no, 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 no. You are still muhrim. You are still in the state of ihram. Go, go do your tawaf and salat al-tawaf and all those which you are required to do in the, yeah, in the umrah. Ruling number 28 is almost similar. He says a person who's doing the tawaf, okay, uh, came on the slided base of the Kaaba, Shadar 1. But he did not know how much he should go back and do U-turn or reverse. So what will be his responsibility? We mentioned he goes back until he feels satisfied, or until he's certain that this is definitely, I don't know whether I messed up here, or I went on Shadar 1 here or here or here. Go all the way to your first probability. So definitely here you are not on Shadar 1. So just continue the tawaf from here. Okay. So he need yeah. So he must, yes, he must go back to the point where he has certainty that this is where he went on Shadar 1. Okay. So he goes back to the point where he's certain that this is where he went over Shadar 1. Um, and then from there he makes the intention of the tawaf, the walking for the tawaf. Because he does not know where exactly. So it could be here, it could be here, it could be here. It's one of these areas. So he goes back all the way here and continues the tawaf, making the intention that wherever I got in reality, in the knowledge of Allah, over the Shadar 1, from there I'm starting. Because he doesn't know where exactly he went on Shadar 1. It was here, it was here, it was here. So ثم يمشي ناويا الطواف. He walks. So number one, يرجع إلى الوراء. He goes back to the place where he's certain that when he will this is inclusive to where the problem happened, and he walks with the intention of tawaf from where he started in reality. Where did he stop in reality? That's where, so he will make intention that, Ya Allah, I'm starting from here, but my tawaf will be according to your knowledge wherever I had gone over the Shadar 1. Question 29, again Shadar 1. If a person performing tawaf went over Shadar 1 uh, a few steps from the tawaf, from his round, and then he did not know how many steps he walked on Shadar 1. because he did not know how many steps he walked over Shadharwan, he just did one full round and deleted that round. So it would be a substitute for that round in which the problem happened. Will this be considered okay? إذا فعل ذلك, if he does that out of unintentional ignorance, because he did not know and he tried his best to find out, he couldn't find out. So it's جهل قصوري. لم يضر بصحة الطواف. It will not harm the validity of his tawaf. Okay? Why? Because he did one round and he was jahil qusuri, that means unintentional ignorance. Otherwise, if he was not unintentional ignorance, he was intentional ignorance, then obviously the validity of the tawaf will be problematic. That means obligatory precaution. And finally, the last question: is it permissible to touch the Kaaba, Holy Kaaba, or the wall of Hajar Ismail during the tawaf? Okay. He says, yeah, it does not affect the validity of the tawaf. And someone did a shortcut. Remember that Hajar Ismail, the arch? He went inside the arch. He saw it's empty. Let me just make a shortcut. Why are people there? They're doing tawaf far away. And here there's empty alley open for me. So he went inside the Hajar Ismail. Um, where did the question go? Yes. شخص اختصر, one person made cut it short, or did a shortcut through Hajar Ismail in 2 rounds. So what should he do? He repeats 2 rounds. Okay, he should repeat 2 rounds. Again, same question. Somebody did a shortcut through Hajar Ismail in 2 rounds. What should he do? وكيف إذا علم بذلك بعد التقصير? What would happen if he realized after taqsir? Obviously after taqsir. So first of all, يعيد الشوطين مع بقاء الموالاة المعتبرة. As long as the consistency and the continuity is maintained, okay, then he can come and he can perform 2 rounds, because in 2 rounds he's certain that he had lost a few conditions. So one should um, perform those 2 rounds. يعيد الشوطين مع بقاء الموالاه, as long as the consistency is maintained, continuity. Even though it is recommended precaution to redo it with the salati, ba'da salah. So that one completed, pray 2 rakat, and then do a fresh tawaf, which is recommended precaution, not obligatory precaution, with the salat after the first salat. So complete the tawaf which got messed up, pray 2 rakat, and then do the ihtiyat, the recommended precaution tawaf, and after that you perform the salat of tawaf. So that messed up, completed, pray 2 rakat, the salat of tawaf. Then you do the proper genuine tawaf and do the 2 rakat salat. But this is recommended precaution. He says he needs to redo the two rounds, يعيد الشوطين, because he got messed up in 2 rounds. So he does the 2 rounds with maintaining the mualat, the consistency, which is required. Even though it's recommended precaution to repeat the salat. Repeat salat what? Salat of tawaf after the salat. وأما فوات الموالاة المعتبرة بين أشواط الطواف كما في الفرض الثاني فيجب إعادة الطواف والأعمال المترتبة عليه. However, if the consistency or the commonly considered consistency was missed between the rounds, such as the second scenario, then one should repeat the tawaf and whatever a'mal are depending on the tawaf, because if tawaf is messed up, salat al-tawaf. Salat al-taqsir is messed up. Taqsir got messed up. So tawaf in-nisa, salat tawaf in-nisa. So all these things are like a kind of domino effect. إعادة الطواف والأعمال المترتبة عليه. In the second scenario, so we have two scenarios. Scenario number one was he realized after the tawaf that he had made a shortcut in 2 rounds, not 7, 2 rounds in Hajj Ismail. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two, he realized not after the tawaf, he realized after the taqsir. So he says he needs to redo the two rounds with maintaining the consistency, the consistency required, commonly considered consistency required between the tawafs. Even though it's recommended precaution to repeat the tawaf and the salat al-tawaf after the salat al-tawaf, which is required. So this is if the mualat consistency was there. However, if the consistency was lost between the rounds, such as the second scenario, then it would be obligatory upon that person to redo the tawaf and the amal which are depending on it. Depending on it, like for salat al-tawaf, then Safa and Marwa depends on the tawaf and salat al-tawaf, and then taqsir depends on the on the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. I think we will stop here to question number 33. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله